So in today's video, we're going to have a character analysis of the very first Sword Saint, a master swordsman, Reid Astrea. But before we get into the video, please check out my recent video and other rezero content, and also subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the video. So we all know that Reid Astrea is the ancestor of Reinhard, and Reid Astrea is the very first Sword Saint. He also made the Van Austria last name a household name. It became a legendary name because of his heroic efforts defeating and locking up, sealing away Satella. But Reid made his debut in the light novel series in Volume 22, Arc 6. He was mentioned in the anime in Season 2 in the total episodes. It's episode 48. But he was also mentioned in the ReZero light novel X light novel Volume 2. So 400 years ago, Reid Astrea was born, and throughout the years he trained relentlessly and soon achieved the very zenith of the swordsmanship, being awarded to the title of the Heavenly Sword. In the years portrayed in the Great Calamity, Reid accomplished a lot of things, meeting people such as the members of the Witches of Sin, Divine Dragon Valakia, Sage Flugel, naming just a few of the people he met throughout his life. He also marked himself down in the history for being the one responsible of the eradication of the evil dragons that used to roam the New World back then. According to the legends, he cut down numerous dragons with a single swing of his dragon sword. After Satella, the Witch of Envy, suddenly went out of control and went on a rampage, and we all know about the Great Calamity, Reid met with Valakia, Flugel, and Shala, and also an Ekna. And they all went to this kingdom city of Flanders, forming an alliance with the heroes, and the four heroes set their goals on defeating the rampaging Satella, who mercilessly killed thousands of people. After realizing they were unable to kill her, Reid and the rest managed to defeat her and seal her away in the sand dunes at the very east of the dragon kingdom of Lagunica. And if you do not know what the sand dunes are, it's the player D's watchtower, whereas Satella is locked away. Besides the Great Calamity, and he sealed Satella away, we're not really sure what else did he do after the Great Calamity, defeating Satella and seal her away. After an unspecific amount of time, the first Sword Saint actually crumbled to an old age and died peacefully. But he made his debut in Arc 6 of the ReZero light novel, so his soul came up out of the ashes again, and his soul acted as the overseer of the second trial of the player D's watchtower, and was a major obstacle preventing Subaru and the companions from conquering the trials of the player D's watchtower, particularly towards Julius. Julius had a hard time with Reid. He later achieved rebirth by taking over Roy, the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, one of the three Sin Archbishops of Gluttony, but it later proved that the body he was controlling of Roy, was so unstable that his soul shattered during his final duel with Julius, making the end of the very first Sword Saint. So his appearance, Reid had a waist-length, fire red hair, sky blue eyes, was mentioned to be taller than Subaru, with a muscular body. He also wore a crimson kimono. He only wore half of his body, leaving the right side uncovered. He also wore a white bandage around his waist and his stomach, around his body, with a black eye patch on his left eye that has an ugly pattern. So Reid's personality was shown to be very frank and rather crude personality, as Subaru was easily able to intimidate a method of speech intended to speak in short sentences, frankly ending him with you. However, he had no interest in title, stating that he was himself and others were themselves. You know, they don't have a really title. They don't really care what they call themselves. You are you. He was also lustful, mentioning that he could have had Emilia in bed if he was still alive. So he's trying to get some ladies, and he talked a lot of game. Despite being somewhat frank and abstract, Reid was quite clever. He seemingly knew about the powers of the authorities to some extent. He also named himself Heroi Rallier. When he faced Lai in Arc 6, in addition to this, he also had a great amount of knowledge regarding how to fight with the sword. Because of this, he gained the aliases of Heavenly Sword. In ReZero Prequel, The Loving Days Gone By, it was revealed that Reid did not discriminate against anyone who pointed the tip of the sword at. Be it the spirit, a demon beast, a dragon, Reid cut them down one by one. He only spared humans due to his campaign against the dragons in particular. Some of them have retaliated and decided to avenge their fallen brethren. However, they did not avail. They were either cut down by Reed himself or by another power invisible of that area. So take a look at his abilities. He has superhuman strength. Reed was able to hold a block of ice so massive that it covered the entire ceiling of the Pleiades watchtower on the second floor. Electria. In martial arts, Reed was capable of techniques where he can channel through the full power of his opponent's attacks harmlessly out of his body. It is actually hinted that he could channel it at any part of the body, but he only had to do it through his feet. The technique effectively made him immune to attacks from clubs, hammers, and punches and kicks, anything that is blunt. Excellent institution. Reed could use the institution to decide if he should cut something, including invincible abilities like Subaru's Coriolanus. Master Swordsman, we all know about the Master Swordsman. He has to have a peak swordsman mastery, the martial arts of the time, as a testament to his peerless skill. Reed was called the Heavenly Sword. To this day, he is the most powerful swordsman to ever lived. And the equipment he has carried is the Dragon Sword Reed. We all know that's been handed down all the way to Reinhard, his great grandson. So, despite being former Sword Saint, Reed did not have the divine protection of the Sword Saint. His eye patch is purely decorative, so both eyes is okay. He has perfect eye condition. So after Reed, everybody in Astrea family had fiery red hair. After Reed, the author once mentioned that there was a very high chance Reinhard was not able to draw the dragon sword if he was ever faced against the first generation Sword Saint. So 400 years ago, Reed's apprentice actually compared and said it had similar personalities to Julius. So Julius is kind of like Reed 400 years ago when he was younger. And there was a book called The Legendary of Reid Astrea and about Reed's deeds. It was supposedly written by someone who was very familiar with him. The context of the books are so incredible it was considered more fiction than the fact. While it's not outright confirmed, it is heavily implied that Tosca is a member of the House of Astrea and Reid Astrea's younger brother. Just like his supposed older brother, Tosca had flaming red hair and had inhuman strength, but not stronger than Reid Astrea, his brother. Reed was actually acquainted with former emperor of the Sacred Empire of Wallachia. So that is all the character analysis of the character of Reid Astrea, the first ever Sword Saint. So tell me what you think in the comments down below about the character analysis. Also, leave a like at the end of the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.